Your freedom does not start when they finally change. Your freedom does not start when someone finally understands you. It does not start when the situation resolves itself on its own, when the explanation finally lands the right way, when someone who owes you an apology finally delivers it, when the door you have been staring at finally closes without you having to be the one to close it. Your freedom does not start when you have said everything you have been holding back. It does not start when the truth is finally acknowledged. It does not start when someone who has been watching you suffer finally notices, finally validates, finally says the words you have been waiting to hear. Your freedom starts right now, in this moment. As these words reach your ears, and something inside of you, something deeper than your mind, older than your pain, quieter than the noise that has been surrounding you, recognizes what is being said before you have even had time to fully process it. Your spirit already knows. Your spirit has known for longer than you have been willing to admit out loud. And what heaven is doing in this moment is not introducing a new idea. Heaven is not telling you something you have never considered. Heaven is confirming what your soul has already been trying to tell you, in the quiet moments, in the sleepless hours, in the spaces between everything that demands your attention. You have been feeling it. You have been feeling it in the silence after the conversations that drain you, in the heaviness that settles in your chest when you return to certain environments, certain people, certain dynamics you have been trying to make work for so long that you have forgotten what it felt like before you started carrying the weight of them. You have been feeling it in those moments when you step back, when you go quiet, when you create a little distance, when you finally breathe, and something in you exhales. Something in you relaxes. Something in you whispers with a voice that is calm and certain and completely unmistakable. This is who I actually am when no one is pulling me in directions I was never meant to go. That exhale is not a coincidence. That peace is not a mood. That clarity is not you running away from something that matters. That is heaven speaking through your own body, through your own spirit, through your own nervous system, which was designed to tell you the truth even when your mind is too afraid to hear it. And what it is saying, what it has been saying, is this: the release has already been authorized. The confirmation is not coming later. It is already here. It arrived before you clicked on this video. It arrived before you woke up this morning. It arrived in the form of every quiet moment where you felt the truth and sat with it, and every time you almost received it, but told yourself you were not sure you were allowed to. You are allowed. Heaven has confirmed it. And your freedom, not the version that requires someone else to grant it to you, not the version waiting for permission, not the version that depends on how they respond. Your freedom starts right now. Before we go any deeper into what heaven is releasing over your life, I need a moment with you. If this is your first time here, site, welcome. This space exists for people exactly like you, people who feel deeply, who carry much, who have survived things that were designed to stop them, and who are now standing at the edge of something they cannot fully name but can absolutely feel. If that is you, subscribe right now and turn on your notifications. Because what continues to come through this channel is not for everyone. It is for the ones who are called to walk a path that most people will never understand. And if something in this message is already landing, if your spirit is already responding to what it is hearing, hit the like button right now. It is a small act, but it tells heaven and it tells this platform that this message needed to reach you. And it helps this word find the next chosen one who is sitting somewhere right now in the middle of their own quiet crisis, waiting for exactly this confirmation. Now, before we go further, because what you are about to receive is going to touch something you have been carrying for a long time without a name for it. You survived, but surviving is not the same as living, and you know that. You feel it in the silence. You feel it in the space between who you are right now and who you know, with a certainty that lives below all your doubts, that you were called to be. There is a material called the total transformation of the chosen one, and it exists to close that space. 5 modules, a 30-day plan, 50 declarations, 2 exclusive bonuses, all in PDF format delivered to your email in less than 5 minutes, not to give you more information, to give you the system that transforms everything you have walked through into the greatest weapon of your assignment. Because whoever walked through the fire and is still standing does not need motivation. They need structure. They need a framework that takes what they survived and builds something with it. This material is that framework, that structure, that foundation. I have made a limited number of units available in the first pinned comment below, but move quickly. The units are limited, and this may come down at any moment. Get yours right now before it closes. The link is in the first pinned comment. Go get it after this video ends. Your transformation deserves more than a moment of inspiration. It deserves a system. Now let us go deeper, because your freedom is real. But before you can fully step into what heaven is releasing, we have to be honest about what has been holding you, not who, not them specifically. Not the person or the situation as an object of blame. What has been holding you is not always a chain you can see. The most powerful prisons are the ones built without walls, without locks, without anything you can point to clearly and say, "This is what is keeping me here." Because the moment you try to explain the invisible prison to someone who has never been inside one, it sounds like nothing. It sounds like you are being dramatic. It sounds like you are choosing to stay. It sounds like you are the problem. And that is exactly what makes it so difficult to leave. So let me describe it. Let me describe the invisible prison that chosen ones are most vulnerable to, not because I want to name a villain, but because the moment you can name what is holding you, it loses some of its power. The unnamed thing has authority that the named thing does not. So let us name it. It starts with loyalty, real loyalty, deep, genuine, rooted loyalty, the kind that is actually one of your greatest gifts, the capacity to love people through their worst moments, to stay when others leave, to believe in someone who has stopped believing in themselves, to see the best in people even when they are showing you something far less than their best. That loyalty is not a weakness. It is a reflection of the God who lives inside of you. It is one of the things that makes you who you are. But somewhere along the line, that loyalty was taken. Somewhere along the line, someone learned that you would stay. They learned it, consciously or not, that you would explain yourself when they acted confused, that you would apologize when they made you feel guilty, that you would shrink yourself to make the room more comfortable for them, that your love for them could be used as leverage, that if they pulled the right emotional cord at the right moment, you would return. You would soften. You would undo the boundary you had just found the courage to set. And the devastatingly complicated part is that they did not always do this with malice. Sometimes it is not evil intent. Sometimes it is their own pain reaching out and latching onto the closest light it can find. And the chosen one, the sensitive one, the empathic one, the one whose spirit was wired to feel deeply and love widely, they become the target, not because they are weak, but because they are lit up. You carry something that draws people who are lost in the dark. And for a long time you believed that was your assignment, to let them hold onto your light until they found their own. But there is a difference between being a light and being a lantern someone else carries. A light shines from where it stands. A lantern gets picked up, moved around, pointed in directions that serve whoever is holding it, set down when it is no longer needed, and picked up again when the darkness returns. The lantern has no say in where it goes. The lantern exists entirely in service of someone else's navigation. You were never meant to be a lantern, and the invisible prison, the one that has been keeping you small and still and available and accessible and obligated, is built from these materials. Guilt, the kind that appears the instant you choose yourself. The voice that says you are being selfish, that you are abandoning people who need you, that your peace is coming at someone else's cost. The guilt that has been so consistently attached to the act of self-preservation that by now you have almost stopped being able to tell the difference between guilt and conscience, between conviction and conditioning. Obligation, the unspoken agreement that has never been written down but feels as binding as any contract you have ever signed. The sense that you owe someone your time, your energy, your presence, your silence, your compliance, your continued availability, simply because of history, because of what they have been through, because of who they are to you. Fear of being misunderstood. The terror of being labeled the one who left, the one who changed, the one who became too good for everyone, the one who abandoned the family, the one who turned cold proud, distant, selfish, spiritual, in a way that made them unreachable. Because you have spent your entire life trying to be understood in a world that has consistently misread you, the idea of walking away and being misunderstood one more time feels almost unbearable. Trauma bonds. The invisible thread that keeps pulling you back to what hurt you, not because you are foolish, not because you do not know better, but because love and pain became attached to each other so early and so thoroughly that your nervous system learned to confuse the pull of anxiety with the feeling of belonging. The chaos started to feel like home, the tension started to feel like intimacy, and now the peace, when it arrives, feels suspicious, feels like something is missing. Family pressure. The weight of people who love you using that love as the reason you should not change, should not leave, should not grow beyond what makes everyone else comfortable. The invisible ceiling that family can create, not always out of malice, sometimes out of their own fear, that keeps the chosen one compressed into a version of themselves that is safe and small and familiar and non-threatening. And finally, the need to explain. The exhausting, relentless, soul-draining need to make people understand why. Why you feel what you feel, why you need what you need, why the boundary exists, why the distance is not hatred, why the silence is not punishment, why you are not the villain of a story that someone else has been narrating without your permission to an audience you never agreed to perform for. These are the invisible chains, and they are real, and they are heavy, and heaven sees every single one of them. Now here is what I need you to hear, and I need you to hear it clearly. Heaven does not lead through confusion. Say that again to yourself. Let it settle. Heaven does not lead you through anxiety, second-guessing, constant dread, emotional exhaustion and chronic instability, and call that your assignment. The fruit of the Spirit, the evidence of God's presence and leading in a life, is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Peace is not an afterthought. Peace is not a bonus that comes after you have suffered enough. Peace is a divine fruit. Peace is a sign. Peace is information. So when you step back from a situation and your body exhales, that is information. When you create distance and for the first time in months, you can hear your own thoughts clearly, like a radio signal that was being jammed finally coming through. That is information. When you stop explaining yourself to someone and instead of relief you feel grief, but underneath the grief there is a stillness you had forgotten existed. That grief and that stillness are both information. When you wake up the morning after making a hard decision, and instead of guilt the first thing you feel is clarity, that is information. God is not speaking to you through the panic that drives you back to what diminished you. God is not speaking to you through the obligation that never seems to be satisfied no matter how much you give. God is not asking you to be smaller so that someone else can feel bigger. That pressure is not divine leading. That pull back toward the familiar pain is not a calling. It is a chain. And here is the confirmation you have been asking for, spoken plainly, without conditions, without qualifications. The peace you feel when you step away, that is God. The heaviness you feel when you return, that is also God. Both of them, both feelings. Both experiences are God speaking to you clearly, without confusion, without mixed signals, without anything that requires you to contort your spirit to understand. He is saying, through peace and through heaviness, through lightness and through weight, follow the peace. The peace is where I am. The heaviness is where I am not. Follow the peace. That is your confirmation. Not in a dream you are waiting for, not in a prophecy from a stranger, not in a sign from the sky, in your own body, in your own spirit. In the information your nervous system has been faithfully delivering to you this entire time, that you have not always known you were allowed to trust. You are allowed to trust it. You are not overreacting. You are not too sensitive. You are a spirit person. You feel things with accuracy. You sense things before they are visible. You carry a discernment that is not a disorder. It is a gift. And that gift has been telling you in a language quieter than words, but more precise than any argument, that this is the season of your release. Heaven has confirmed it. Type Amen in the comments right now if you receive this confirmation. Let it be written. Let it be declared. You are not confused. You are not trapped. You are not imagining what you feel. You are confirmed. Type Amen and receive this word into the deepest part of your spirit. Now I want to talk about the moment. The specific, quiet, eternal moment when the chain breaks, because it does not look the way you might imagine. It does not arrive with thunder. It does not come in the form of a dramatic confrontation where you finally say everything you have been holding and the other person is moved to tears and everything resolves beautifully. It does not come with a door slamming. It does not come with a public declaration or a bold statement that the people around you witness and applaud. The moment the chain breaks is quiet. It looks like you receiving a message and choosing for the first time not to respond immediately. Not because you are playing games, not because you are punishing anyone, but because you are no longer afraid of what happens in the silence after your boundary. You have finally stopped allowing someone else's discomfort to override your own peace. It looks like you being in a conversation and realizing mid-sentence that you do not feel the need to over-explain. The old version of you would have spent 20 minutes making sure they understood, watching their face for signs of disapproval, adjusting every word in real time to manage their reaction. But in this moment you say what is true, and you let it be true, and you do not chase their understanding down the hallway with 100 more words. It looks like you waking up in the morning and not immediately reaching for your phone to check for messages from someone whose approval you have been unconsciously waiting on. It looks like the absence of the anxiety that used to wake up alongside you every single day, as predictable and unwelcome as an alarm. It looks like you hearing your name spoken in a way that used to make you collapse inside, and something in you simply not responding to it the way it used to. Not with anger, not with defensiveness, not with the old familiar shrinking. Just stillness, security, a groundedness that says without any drama, that is not who I am, and I no longer need to prove it. It looks like you choosing sleep over a conversation that would have 6 months ago kept you up until 3 in the morning, defending your character to someone who was never going to rule in your favor, regardless of how perfectly you argued your case. It looks like you sitting alone and feeling peaceful instead of lonely. It looks like your prayers changing from desperate bargaining to grounded conversation, not the frantic petitioning of someone who is confused and afraid, but the direct, clear communication of someone who knows who they belong to and walks in the security of that belonging. The moment the chain breaks is quiet. But it is one of the loudest things that has ever happened in your spirit. And it is happening right now. As you listen, something inside of you is shifting. Something that has been held tight is loosening. Something that was locked from the outside is beginning to open from the inside. Not because someone finally gave you the key, but because you have stopped pretending you do not know where the door is. You stop answering every emotional pull. Not because you have become cold or indifferent, but because you have finally understood that responding to every pull is not love, it is compliance. And compliance is not love. Love can exist at a distance. Love can exist with a boundary between it and the person it is directed toward. Love does not require you to be accessible in ways that destroy you in order to be real. You stop over-explaining. The version of you that spent enormous energy crafting the perfect explanation that would finally make them understand, that version is stepping back. Not because clarity is unimportant, but because you have come to understand that some people's understanding of you was never something you had the power to produce, no matter how well you explained yourself. And more importantly, their understanding is not a prerequisite for your peace. You do not need them to get it. You do not need their version of events to match yours. You do not need their approval to know what is true about you. You stop shrinking. The version of you that made yourself smaller to fit into spaces that were not built for you. She is leaving. He is leaving. That version of you that apologized for having needs, for wanting peace, for being too much, for being not enough, for occupying space that someone else decided you had not earned, that version is being retired. Not with bitterness, not with an announcement. Simply by you deciding to stand at your full height and stop apologizing for what you occupy. You stop apologizing for needing peace, Peace is not a luxury. Peace is not a reward at the end of a long season of making everyone around you comfortable. Peace is a birthright. It was purchased. It belongs to you. And the moment you stop treating it like something you have to justify and start treating it like something you were always supposed to have, everything changes. Now, I need to speak to something important. Because some of you carry this quietly, and it needs to be addressed directly. You have been told seat it directly, indirectly, loudly, or through silence, that walking away means you do not love, that closing a door means you have given up on someone, that creating distance means you are cold, selfish, unforgiving, proud, or spiritually immature. That is a lie. You can forgive completely and still not reopen the door. You can love deeply and still not be available the way you once were. You can pray for someone faithfully every day of your life and still never sit across from them again. You can genuinely wish someone peace and healing and still have their number blocked on your phone. This is not contradiction. This is not hardness of heart. This is not spiritual failure. This is freedom. Forgiveness is for you. It is not a bridge back to what broke you. It is not a requirement to rebuild what was not built in divine order in the first place. Forgiveness is the act of releasing the weight so that you can walk free. It does not obligate you to walk back into what the weight came from. You can be kind without being controlled. You can care without being consumed. You can love without being available in every way that someone demands. This is the nuance that changes everything. Because the chosen one, the one whose heart is genuinely good, who genuinely does not want to cause pain, they often confuse kindness with unlimited accessibility. They think that if they care, they must be present. They think that love is measured in how much they absorb, how much they allow, how much they endure. They have been taught, explicitly or through experience, that real love costs you peace, that real love requires sacrifice of self, that if you are comfortable, you must not love enough. But self-abandonment with a kind face is not love. Real kindness can say no. Real kindness can maintain distance. Real kindness can offer a prayer from across town instead of a presence across the table. Real kindness can hold warmth in the heart while holding a boundary at the door. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming, for the first time in a long time, the full version of yourself that you were always supposed to be. The version that loves from overflow instead of emptiness. The version that gives because it flows from abundance, not because it flows from fear of what happens if you stop. Type 777 in the comments if you believe Jesus is guiding your freedom. Type it and mean it. This is not just engagement, this is a declaration of spiritual alignment. Jesus does not lead the sheep back into the valley of danger and call it faithfulness. The shepherd leads them through the danger and out the other side. If you are here, listening to this, something in you receiving what is being said, you are already through. You are already on the other side. Type 777 and receive that truth. And now, midway through this message, I want to pause for just a moment, because if what you have heard so far is landing, if something in you is shifting and opening and receiving what heaven is confirming, I want to remind you about the total transformation of the chosen one. What you are receiving in this message is a seed, but a seed needs soil, it needs structure, it needs a daily system that keeps this word alive past the moment the video ends, past the emotional high of receiving a confirmation, past the first time life tries to pull you backward. That material is that system. 5 modules, 30 days, 50 declarations that you speak over your life until they become the architecture of how you see yourself. 2 exclusive bonuses, PDF format, in your email in under 5 minutes. It is in the first pinned comment below. And before you finish this video, before you close the app, before you scroll to the next thing, was go get it. Because the chosen one deserves more than a feeling. You deserve a foundation. And that material is yours, right now. First pinned comment, go get it. Now I want to speak to something that has been sitting quietly underneath everything else you carry. Because for some of you, this is not just about you. You have been holding on not entirely for yourself. You have been staying, enduring, absorbing, keeping the false peace because of your children, because of your parents, because of the people who live under your roof, who share your name, who carry pieces of your bloodline forward. You have been afraid that your freedom might cost them something, afraid that choosing yourself might leave the people you love exposed, unprotected, vulnerable in ways you cannot accept. And heaven sees that. Heaven sees every sacrifice that was never acknowledged, every night you cried where no one could hear, every time you absorbed an impact that was aimed at you so that it would not land on someone more vulnerable, standing behind you. Every version of yourself you compressed so that the household could function, so that the family could appear intact, so that the children would not have to see the fracture you have been holding together with your bare hands. Heaven saw all of it, and heaven is not asking you to do it anymore, because here is what you have not been told clearly enough. Your obedience does not just protect you. Your obedience covers the people who belong to you. When you walk in alignment, when you make the hard decision, when you honor the boundary God confirmed in your spirit, when you stop returning to what He already delivered you from, that act of obedience becomes a canopy over your household. It becomes a covering over your children, a protection over your bloodline, a spiritual wall around everything that carries your name and your assignment into the future. The enemy knows that if he cannot move the chosen one through their own pain, he will try to move them through their love. He will make you afraid that your freedom comes at the cost of the people you cannot stop loving. He will make the act of choosing yourself feel like abandonment of them. But that is the inversion of truth. Your freedom is their protection. Your alignment is their covering. Your willingness to walk in what God has confirmed for your life is the most powerful act of intercession you can perform for everyone who belongs to you. Because when the chosen one walks in their assignment, heaven responds. When the chosen one stops allowing the wrong access, the right covering settles over everything they are responsible for. And I want to speak to your children specifically, because children do not learn love from what you teach them about love. They learn love from what they watch you accept. If they watch you accept disrespect, they learn that love requires the endurance of pain. If they watch you shrink yourself to manage someone else's emotions, they learn that love requires self-erasure. If they watch you hold your peace, honor your boundary, walk with dignity and refuse to return to what diminishes you, they learn that love is something you carry from a place of wholeness. That boundaries are not cruelty, that choosing yourself is not abandonment. That peace is something you are allowed to protect. Your freedom is a generational teaching. Your boundaries are a generational inheritance. Your willingness to walk in what heaven has confirmed is planting seeds into your children's children that you will never fully see the fruit of, but heaven is already watching them grow. So do not be afraid. The people who belong to you are covered. The home that you carry in your heart, heaven is covering it. The finances you are worried about, heaven is covering them. The future you cannot yet see, heaven is already in it, already working, already arranging what needs to be arranged on your behalf. You are not walking into the unknown alone. You are walking into the unknown covered. Now let us talk about the version of you that is being left behind. The version of you that begged for understanding, done. The version of you that chased people who were emotionally leaving even before they physically left, because your fear of abandonment could not tolerate the space that preceded the loss, done. The version of you that rehearsed conversations at 2 a.m, in the shower, in the car, the perfectly worded conversations that would finally make them see, finally make them understand, finally cause them to change, done. The version of you that apologized for things that were not your fault, because the apology was the fastest way to end the tension and return to some version of peace, even when that peace was a performance built on a foundation of suppression, done. The version of you that tolerated treatment, that contradicted your value because somewhere deep inside you had been taught that this is what love requires, that love is supposed to cost you peace, that if it does not hurt, it is not real, done. The version of you that doubted your own perception every time someone confidently told you that you were wrong, that you misunderstood, that you were imagining it, that you were too sensitive, that you were the problem, done. That version is not being killed. She is not being discarded. He is not being thrown away. You are not abandoning who you were. You are graduating from who you were. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming clear. You are not becoming hard. You are becoming rooted. You are not walking away from love. You are walking toward the version of love that does not require you to disappear inside of it. And the version of you that is emerging, the grounded one, the clear one, the one who knows what she carries, who walks in the quiet authority of what God placed inside of him, that version has been waiting, not patiently, urgently, pressing against the surface of the compressed version you have been living as, knocking from the inside, saying, I am here. I have always been here. Let me out. Let me stand. Let me walk in what we were always supposed to be. The old access that was keeping that version compressed, it is closing. The door through which people could reach in and extract your peace without your permission, closing. The corridor through which guilt could walk uninvited into your spirit and rearrange everything, closing. The window through which someone's disappointment could reach in and make you smaller than God made you, closing. Not with drama, not with announcement, simply with your decision to no longer return. Type 1010 in the comments if the old access is closed. Type it as a declaration, as a spiritual act. You are telling the realm that surrounds you, that corridor is closed, that access is revoked. The version of me who needed their approval to feel whole is no longer running this life. Type 1010, let it be sealed. Now let me show you something beautiful. Because some of you have been so deep in the process of release that you have not noticed the signs that your freedom has already started. You have been waiting for confirmation, looking for a sign, wondering when the peace is going to arrive. And it has already been here. It arrived quietly, the way all real things do, without fanfare, without anyone pointing to it and naming it. So let me name it for you. Your mind is quieter. Not silent, not without thought or challenge, but underneath the surface activity of daily life, there is a stillness that was not there before. A quiet at the center, a sense that even when the storm moves through, something at the core of you does not move with it. That quiet is the peace of God. That quiet is freedom beginning. Your body feels lighter. Some of you have noticed this without knowing what to call it. A release of tension in the shoulders, the jaw, the chest, sleep that comes more easily, breathing that goes deeper. A lightness that you had not realized was gone until you felt it return. Your body was faithfully carrying what your mind was trying to manage. As the spiritual release settles, your body reports it the only way it knows how, through the language of relief. You no longer feel the need to prove the truth. This is one of the most significant signs. For a long time, the need to be believed was one of the most exhausting invisible labors you performed, carrying the weight of a truth that someone important was refusing to acknowledge, living inside a narrative someone else wrote about you. But something has shifted. The truth does not need your constant defense. You know what is true. God knows what is true. And increasingly, quietly, powerfully, that is enough. You feel peace after distance. When you take space from a person or situation, and the primary feeling is relief rather than guilt, that is a sign. When the absence feels like breathing rather than betrayal, that is a sign. When the quiet that exists between you and someone fills with peace instead of anxiety, that is a sign that is pointing in a clear direction. Follow it. You are sleeping better. You are breathing easier. The body does not lie. It carries what the spirit knows before the mind has processed it. And your body is beginning to report something your spirit has already received. The weight is lifting. The season is changing. You are losing interest in the old chaos. Things that used to activate you, situations, conflicts, dynamics that used to pull you in and keep you spinning, are beginning to feel distant. Not because you no longer care, but because the version of you that was wired to the adrenaline of ongoing emotional instability is being rewired. Peace is becoming more appealing than noise, quiet more appealing than drama, and that shift in appetite is one of the most powerful signs of spiritual maturity available. You are becoming selective about your time, your energy, who gets access to your thoughts, which conversations you enter, what you allow to live rent-free in your mental space. You are not becoming exclusive in a prideful way. You are becoming intentional in a purposeful way. You are beginning to steward what you carry instead of spilling it in every direction that demands it. You are hearing God more clearly. When the noise of certain dynamics reduces, The signal of his voice increases. It was always there, but it was being drowned out by constant emotional labor. Now that the volume on those things is turning down, you are beginning to hear clarity about your purpose, direction about your next steps, comfort that arrives without having to chase it. You are no longer afraid of someone's reaction. For so long, the anticipated response of a specific person was one of the primary forces shaping your decisions. You filtered what you said, what you did, how you moved, all of it shaped around the projected reaction of someone whose approval had become a currency you depended on. But the order is reversing. You are making decisions, and only afterward, if at all, considering how that person might feel about it. That small seismic shift is the sign that the chain has broken. These are not small things. These are enormous things, and they have been happening in you already. Now we turn to what is coming, because in the kingdom of God, release is never only an ending. Every ending is also a beginning. Every closed door is also a clearing. Everything that is removed from your life creates space that heaven is already preparing to fill, with something that is in genuine alignment with who you actually are. When the wrong access closes, the right doors open. This is not a motivational phrase. This is a spiritual law. The blessing that God has been trying to bring into your life could not fit because the space was occupied. The right relationships could not enter because the wrong ones were using the door. The divine connections, the appointed people, the assigned helpers, the ones who will see you clearly and love you accurately and walk alongside you toward your actual purpose, they have been waiting, outside a door being held open by the wrong thing. But the door is clearing. New relationships are coming. People who are not threatened by your light, your depth, your sensitivity, your assignment. People who add to what you carry instead of subtracting from it. People who know how to love a chosen one because they are chosen ones themselves. Divine helpers are coming, assigned by heaven to this specific chapter. People with resources, with wisdom, with open doors, with timing that could not have been arranged by human strategy. They are already moving toward you in the spirit. What you will see in the natural is the manifestation of what heaven has already arranged. Cleaner opportunities are coming, ones that do not arrive with hidden costs, that do not require you to compromise your integrity or your peace to receive them. Opportunities that feel right before they feel profitable. Restored focus is coming. The mental bandwidth that was consumed by cycles of confusion and emotional management is becoming available again. Dreams you postponed, ideas you buried. Gifts you stopped developing because survival mode left no space for them to breathe. They are breathing again. Spiritual strength is coming, not just peace, but authority. The authority that belongs to someone who walked through what was designed to break them and came out standing. Your faith is about to enter a dimension that your old environment could never have produced in you, because fire produces what comfort never could. The blessing requires the space, and you are creating the space. Type 1212 in the comments if you are ready for the new door. Type it like you mean it. The new door is not somewhere far off in a future you cannot see. The new door is directly in front of you right now. The only thing that was keeping you from walking through it was the energy you were spending looking behind you. Type 1212. The new door is open. Walk through it. And now, before this message closes, I need to come back to you one more time. There is someone watching this right now who almost did not click, whose thumb almost kept scrolling. Something in them was afraid of what they might hear. Something in them was afraid they were going to be told what they already knew, but had been working hard not to fully know. And yet here you are, still here, at the end of this message. And that is not an accident. That is not the algorithm. That is not coincidence. That is not luck. That is the same God who knew your name before you were born, who saw the plan for your life before you lived a single day of it, who has been walking with you through every season you were convinced you would not survive. That God is the one who made sure this message appeared in your world today. He wanted you to hear this. He wanted you to receive this, not as content, not as information, as confirmation. You are not confused. You are not wrong about what you have been feeling. You are not imagining the weight that lifts when certain things are removed. You are not overreacting. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are not abandoned, you are not trapped. Even if it has felt like a trap for so long that you cannot fully remember what walking free felt like. You are chosen, you are confirmed, you are covered, you are released. The chain is broken, not breaking. Not in the process of being broken. Broken, past tense, completed in the spiritual realm and now manifesting in the natural. The release was signed before you heard this message. Heaven put its seal on it before you woke up this morning. This video was the delivery of a decision that was already made. And now the question is not whether you are free. You are free. The only question is whether you are going to keep returning to the cage. Whether you are going to keep standing at the open door looking back, convincing yourself that what is in there is worth going back for. Whether you are going to keep choosing the familiar pain over the unfamiliar peace. Whether you are going to keep postponing the life God has been building for you because you are more comfortable with what you know, even when what you know is making you smaller every day. Heaven is not going to drag you out. Freedom does not work that way. Love does not work that way. God opens the door. He confirms the release. He places the peace in your body as a compass. He sends the message at the right moment. He does everything except take the steps for you. The steps are yours, and they begin right now. Not when the situation resolves. Not when they change. Not when everyone around you understands. Not when you have explained yourself sufficiently. Not when you have earned the right to be at peace. Right now. The first step is simply this. Stop going back. Stop returning to the conversation that drains you after you have already created distance. Stop reopening the door that God has been trying to close. Stop picking up what He has already removed from your hands. Stop explaining yourself to people who have demonstrated they are not interested in understanding you. Stop shrinking back to fit spaces that were never your size. Stop going back. That is the first step, and it is the only step you need to take today. Just this one, just today. Not forever, just today. Choose peace today. Honor the boundary today. Take one step forward today, and tomorrow you will do it again, and the day after that. And slowly, steadily, without drama and without announcement, your life will rearrange itself around the truth of who you are and what you were called to carry. Heaven will handle what you cannot control. The people who belong in your next chapter will find you. The doors that are meant to open will open. The provision assigned to your assignment will manifest. The healing your body and spirit have been waiting for will come. The clarity your purpose has been holding in reserve will arrive. All of it is waiting on the other side of your yes. And you already said yes. You said it when you clicked. You said it when you stayed until the end. You said it when something inside of you recognized every word and let it land instead of deflecting it. You said yes, and heaven heard you. Walk forward, chosen one. Every step you take in peace is proof that God is leading you. Every boundary you hold is proof that you trust Him more than you trust the fear. Every door you stop returning to is proof that you believe the new door is real. And it is real. It is more real than anything you are walking away from. Heaven has confirmed it. The chain is broken. Your freedom starts now. If this message reached you at the right time, if something in these words confirmed what your spirit has been carrying without a name, comment, "My freedom starts now," and let heaven know you are not going back. Not because the comment changes what heaven has already decided, but because the declaration changes something in you. There is power in saying it, power in writing it, power in planting a flag in this specific moment and saying, "This is where my freedom begins. This is the line. I am not crossing back over it. My freedom starts now." Say it, type it, receive it, mean it. And if this message moved something in you, hit the like button right now and share this with someone who is standing at the same door, waiting for the same confirmation. You may not know they need it, but God does, and He will make sure it reaches the right spirit at the right moment, the same way He made sure it reached you. And before you go, the material I mentioned is still waiting for you. The total transformation of the chosen one. First pinned comment below. Limited units. Go get yours right now, before this closes and the units run out. You survived everything that tried to stop you. Now let us build something with it. And the video appearing on your screen right now. Go watch it next, because what you received here planted a seed. What is in that next video is going to water it. The chosen one does not arrive at their full freedom in a single moment. They arrive through a series of divine appointments. This was one. The next one is already waiting for you. Click it. Your next confirmation is already there.